There is a metro station in this story where the platform clock has been stopped at 12:41 for longer than anyone can remember. The staff know it. The regular commuters know it. Nobody has ever fixed it, because 3 times, when someone tried, that someone never came back to finish the job.
3 people, 3 different years, 3 different lives. The only thing they had in common, the only thing, is that each of them stood on that platform at night and took a selfie, smiled at their own phone screen, pressed the button, and somewhere between the flash and the photo saving to their gallery, something in that picture changed.
Welcome back to Midnight Masquerade. Before we start, I want to say these are 3 separate accounts sent to me by 3 separate viewers from 3 different parts of the world, months apart. None of them knew each other. None of them had heard of this station before it happened to them. I have changed certain names and details at the request of the families. Everything else, you're about to hear exactly as it was told to me.
If this is your first time here, subscribe, turn on the bell, because after tonight, you will think twice before taking a photo alone on an empty platform. Let's begin.
David Whitlock, 26, IT support technician. Missed the last train home. Wandered onto an old, disused platform. Took a selfie to send to his girlfriend as a joke. Stuck at the world's creepiest station, LOL. A cold November night, a few minutes past midnight. A small commuter station outside a town in the English Midlands. The platform had been sealed off from public use 6 years earlier after a fatal accident, but the gate was never properly locked. He was the only passenger on the entire station that night, and he swore later that the station hadn't felt empty at all.
David missed his train by 4 minutes. Just 4 minutes. The kind of gap that ruins your whole night, but doesn't feel like it should be possible. He stood on the main platform, checked the board, and saw the next one wasn't until 5:50 in the morning, almost 6 hours.
The ticket office had already closed. The vending machine had already been switched off for the night. David called his girlfriend, half laughing, complaining about his luck. And that's when he noticed the old footbridge at the far end of the station, the one with the faded sign that said Platform 3, closed.
He didn't plan to go there. He just wanted somewhere out of the wind while he waited. The gate at the bottom of the footbridge was chained, but the chain was loose enough to slip through if you turned sideways, so he did. Platform 3 hadn't been touched in years. The paint on the benches had bubbled and cracked. Weeds pushed up through the gaps in the concrete. And at the very end of the platform, half swallowed by ivy, that clock stopped at 12:41. He thought it looked aesthetic. His word, not mine. He wanted a photo for his story, something moody, something to make his friends jealous of his spooky little adventure. He stood under the one working lamp left on that platform, held his phone up, and took the picture. He told his girlfriend later that in the half second between pressing the button and the shutter sound going off, he felt the temperature drop. Not gradually, all at once, like stepping into a freezer. He said his breath came out in front of him, even though it hadn't a second before.
He looked at the photo. Just himself, the lamp, the ivy, the dead clock behind him. Nothing wrong with it. He laughed it off, told himself the cold was just the wind picking up, and sat down on one of the cracked benches to wait out the hours until his train. That's when he heard it. Footsteps. Slow, even, deliberate, coming from the far end of the platform. The end past the clock, where there was nothing but a boarded-up maintenance shed and a dead end.
He called out. No answer. The footsteps stopped the moment he spoke. David told his girlfriend he almost left right then, but something, he couldn't explain what, made him check his phone one more time before he did. He opened the photo again. There was a second figure in it now, standing just behind his left shoulder. half out of the lamplight. Tall, still, facing the camera directly. In the 2 minutes since he'd taken it, nobody had walked past him. Nobody could have. He said the figure's face wasn't blurred, wasn't shadowed. It was simply wrong. Not human wrong in an obvious way, just wrong in the way a reflection is wrong when it moves half a second after you do. David didn't wait for the train. He ran down the footbridge, through the gap in the chain, back onto the main platform, and he didn't stop moving until he was standing under the working lights outside the station. Phone clutched so hard his knuckles had gone white. He deleted the photo before he even got home. He told me, through his girlfriend, because David himself doesn't really talk about that night anymore, that deleting it didn't matter, because for 3 weeks afterward, every time he closed his eyes to sleep, he saw the platform, the ivy, the stopped clock, and the shape standing just behind his shoulder, waiting for him to turn around. He says he still sometimes gets on that train line. He has never, not once, gotten off at that station again. And neither, he says, has anyone else who's tried taking a photo there since. 3 stories, 1 station. Before the second one, I want to remind you, none of what you're hearing is dramatized for effect. These are the accounts as they were given to me, word for word, wherever possible. If you're watching this at night, alone, with your headphones in, maybe check behind you, just once, for fun. Let's continue. Thomas Reyes, 34, freelance photographer, self-described urban explorer with a following built on abandoned places content. Went to the same station specifically because of a rumor he'd heard online about the platform that doesn't like cameras. Filmed himself taking a selfie for content, treating it like a joke. Roughly 8 months after David's account, early summer, just after 11 p.m., the same closed Platform 3. He didn't believe any of it. That was the whole point of the video he was planning to post. Thomas had heard whispers about the station through a small urban exploration forum. A handful of posts, no real detail, just people saying, "Don't take pictures on Platform 3. Something's wrong with it." To Thomas, that wasn't a warning. That was content. He arrived with a proper camera, a portable light, and a plan to film a debunking video. The kind where the confident guy walks in, says the ghost story out loud to the camera, and proves nothing happens. He'd built an entire audience on exactly that formula. He slipped through the same loose chain David had gone through 8 months earlier. He didn't know David's story. He'd never heard David's name. He set up his light at the end of the platform, right by that same stopped clock, and started recording. "All right," he said to the camera, grinning. "So apparently, if I take a selfie right here, something's supposed to show up behind me. Let's see." He held up his phone, angled it, and took the shot. Nothing happened. At first. He checked the photo, laughed, showed it to the camera. Completely normal. Just him, the lamp, the ivy. "Yeah," he said, shocking. "Nothing's..." He stopped talking mid-sentence. On the footage that later got sent to me by someone close to him, you can hear it. Not see it, hear it. A second breathing. Slow, wet, out of rhythm with his own. Thomas didn't react the way David did. He didn't run. He got curious, arrogant, some might say. And he did something David never did. He turned the camera light toward the dark end of the platform, toward the boarded-up maintenance shed. The footage shows the beam of light sweeping across cracked concrete, ivy, an old fallen sign. And then, for one single frame, 1/24th of a second, the kind of thing you'd only catch if you paused it, there's a shape standing in the shed doorway, tall, still, facing the camera directly, the same way it faced David's.
The audio cuts out completely for the next 11 seconds. Not silence, cuts out, like the recording itself refused to keep going. When it comes back, you can hear Thomas breathing hard, and he says very quietly, almost to himself, "It's not behind the camera, it's behind me." The footage ends there. Thomas never posted that video. He never posted anything again, in fact. His channel went inactive that same week. What's known is this. He told a close friend, days later, that after that night, he started noticing the shape in ordinary photos. Not just from the station, photos from his own home, his own kitchen, always in the background, always facing the camera. He said it never got any closer. It didn't need to. He said the worst part wasn't fear of it coming for him. It was the feeling that it was simply waiting. Patiently. The way you wait for a train that you already know is coming. Thomas moved out of that apartment less than a month later. The friend who told me this account doesn't know exactly where he moved to, only that he asked her never to take a photo of him again. Not one. Not ever. 2 stories down. 2 people. Months apart. Who never met. And yet the same platform. The same clock. The same shape. You'd think, after 2 accounts like this, that word would spread, and people would simply stop going there. They didn't. A young woman known to her friend group only by her nickname, Jolly, 23, university student, known for being fearless, the friend who always went first into anything. Went to Platform 3 with 2 friends on a dare, specifically to recreate the by then local legend, laughing the whole way there. The following winter, just over a year after David's original photo, same platform, same clock, now slightly more decayed, the ivy having grown further across the old bench. This account matters most. It's the only one of the 3 where somebody didn't come back. By the time Jolly and her 2 friends heard about Platform 3, it wasn't a rumor on some small forum anymore. It had become a local dare, the kind of thing teenagers whisper about at sleepovers. Go to the platform, take the selfie, post it, prove you're not scared. Jolly was never scared of anything. That's what her friends told me. She was the one who climbed the fence first, who laughed the loudest, who treated every warning like a challenge instead of a warning. The 3 of them slipped through the same gap in the chain that David and Thomas had used, over a year apart, without ever knowing each other's names. Jolly walked straight to the end of the platform, right up to the stopped clock, and turned to her friends with a grin. "Watch," she said. "Nothing's gonna happen. It's just an old station." She held up her phone. Her friends stood a few feet back, filming her on their own phones, laughing, telling her to hurry up because it was freezing. Jolly smiled at the camera, pressed the button. Her friends said the flash seemed to last a fraction too long, like the phone had frozen for half a second before finishing the photo. Jolly didn't seem to notice. She looked down at her screen to check the shot, and her smile dropped. "Guys," she said quietly, "come look at this." They walked over. In the photo, the one recovered later from her phone, the last photo ever taken on it, Jolly stands smiling in front of the clock, exactly as she had a moment before. But directly behind her, close enough that its outline overlaps with her shoulder, is the same tall, still figure. Except in this photo, unlike David's, unlike Thomas's, its head is tilted, ever so slightly, as if it had just started to turn.
Her friends said the temperature dropped instantly, the same freezer cold that David had described a year earlier, though none of them had ever heard his story. One of the friends grabbed Jolly's arm, and said they needed to leave right now. Jolly agreed. She turned to walk back toward the footbridge, and then she stopped, completely still, facing the dark end of the platform, toward the boarded-up shed.
Her friends called her name. She didn't answer. They said it was as if she were listening to something they couldn't hear. Then, they said, she simply walked toward the shed, calm, unhurried, the way you'd walk toward someone waving you over.
They screamed for her to stop. She didn't. By the time they reached the end of the platform themselves, seconds later, there was no one there. No door had opened. The boards on the shed were exactly as rotted and sealed as they'd always been. There was nowhere for her to have gone.
Jolly was reported missing that same night. The station was searched. The shed was pried open by the authorities days later. Empty, undisturbed, years of dust across the floor. No footprints but the investigators' own. She has never been found. Her photo, the one with the figure standing behind her, head tilted, mid-turn, is the last image that exists of her.
After Jolly disappeared, the local authority finally sealed Platform 3 properly. New fencing, no loose chain, cameras installed at the footbridge. The clock at the end of the platform, the one that's been stuck at 12:41 for as long as anyone can remember. Nobody has gone back to try fixing it since. Nobody wants to be the fourth photo.
3 people, 1 platform, 1 camera flash each, and 1 shape that showed up a little closer, a little bolder, every single time. David walked away shaken. Thomas walked away warned. Jolly didn't walk away at all.
If there's a lesson in any of this, it's a simple one. Some places don't want to be photographed, and the ones that don't usually have a reason.